Have you ever stopped to think that the very food on your plate could be the chain that is holding your spirit captive? My beloved, listen carefully, for what I am about to say may shock you. You think the devil only works through temptations of lust, greed, or anger. But do you know that he also works quietly, secretly, powerfully through the food you eat, while you are praying, while you are fasting, while you are lifting your hands to God? The enemy may already be inside your body, not through possession of your soul, but through what you have allowed and into your temple, your stomach, your blood, your mind. Satan is not foolish. He studies you. He knows that if he cannot break your faith, he will weaken your vessel. If he cannot destroy your spirit, he will poison your body. And one of his greatest tools is the food that looks harmless, smells delightful, and tastes sweet upon your tongue, but rots you from within. Do not be deceived. There are foods that are not just unhealthy for the body, they are spiritually dangerous. They dull your mind, weaken your prayers, and make you a slave to cravings. They stir up laziness, cloud your discernment, and create addictions that you cannot break. You wonder why your faith feels heavy, why your prayers seem powerless, why your mind is restless and unfocused. It may not be only your circumstances. It may be what you are feeding yourself. The enemy has designed a system in this world where food is no longer just food. It has been corrupted, modified, injected, and filled with chemicals that destroy not just your health but your spirit. You cannot glorify God fully while being chained by what you eat. The devil knows this and he uses it. Think of it. Why do so many of us struggle to wake up and pray? Why do we feel tired, sluggish, heavy in body and spirit? Could it be that the foods we consume, drenched in sugar, fried in oils, pumped with toxins, are killing the fire of God inside us? Do you see how cunning Satan is? He does not always come with horns and destruction. Sometimes he comes with sweetness, with pleasure, with indulgence. He whispers, eat a little more, drink this, taste that. You deserve it. It's harmless. And by the time you realize the trap, you are already bound. The word says your body is the temple of God. A temple is meant to be holy, pure, filled with light. But if the temple is filled with filth, if the altar is cluttered with idols, how can God's presence rest fully upon you? The devil knows that if he can make you careless with your temple, you will lose focus in prayer, lose passion in worship, and lose fire in battle. Some of you are not weak in spirit. You are strong in spirit, but your body is chained by foods that are destroying your focus, your clarity, your discipline. And the enemy laughs because he knows you cannot run this race with endurance if you are weighed down by what he has placed on your table. I tell you this with urgency. Not every food is for you. Not every drink is for you. Not everything that is allowed by man is approved by God. The devil has infiltrated the food systems of this world. He has made what is bitter taste sweet, and what is harmful appear harmless. He has filled the marketplace with temptations that look like blessings but are actually curses. Do not be blind. Every time you take something into your body, ask yourself, does this glorify God? Or does this give Satan another foothold? Does this make me alert in prayer? Or does it make me drowsy? Does this bring me closer to purity, or does it tie me deeper to the flesh? The enemy knows that if he can control your appetite, he can control your destiny. If he can chain you through food, he will make you weak when you should be strong. He will make you tired when you should be praying. He will make you restless when you should be at peace. He will make you crave more when you should be fasting. Food is not just food. It is a weapon, either for God or against God. Either it strengthens you or it weakens you. Either it sharpens your mind or it dulls your spirit. Either it lifts you higher or it drags you lower. I am speaking to someone right now who has been praying for strength, praying for clarity, praying for freedom. But you keep feeding yourself the very things that are enslaving you. You cannot be free if you keep eating chains. You cannot be strong if you keep drinking poison. You cannot be clear-minded if you keep consuming confusion. The devil has made you believe that food is harmless, but food can be a seed. Some seeds produce holiness and health. Others produce addiction and destruction. Do you not see? This is why fasting is powerful. Because fasting breaks the chains of food that the devil tries to bind you with. Fasting realigns your appetite with God. But when you fast and then return to the same foods that enslave you, you undo the victory. Wake up, beloved! Open your eyes! Satan is controlling many of you through sugar, through processed foods, through the endless addiction to flavors that have no life in them. And you wonder why your energy is gone, why your prayers lack fire, why your vision is clouded. It is because you have surrendered your temple, not only through sin, but through what you have allowed to enter your mouth. Guard your appetite, guard your plate, guard your temple, for the devil seeks to destroy you not just through your enemies, not just through your trials, but through your food. Beloved, hear me with your heart open and your spirit alert, for the matter I speak of is not small. It is a hidden war, a silent battle taking place inside the very temples of your body. You may be fighting enemies on the outside, but the greatest enemy is often what you are feeding yourself on the inside. Satan does not always need to attack you with visible weapons when he can weaken you with invisible poisons disguised as food. He knows that a distracted, drowsy, and unhealthy believer cannot rise with strength to fulfill the calling of God. So he places before you delights that are not delights, pleasures that are not pure, and flavors that are not blessings but traps. When God created the world, he provided food in its purest form. Fruits from the trees, grains from the fields, vegetables from the earth, water flowing crystal clear. These were designed to nourish the body and lift the soul in gratitude. But what has the devil done? He has twisted creation, polluted it, corrupted it, and turned it into a snare. The food systems of this world are no longer about nourishment. They are about addiction. Factories produce what was never grown in God's soil. Drinks are filled with chemicals that were never intended for God's temple. Flavors are engineered to make you crave more and more, not to satisfy but to enslave. And many are unaware that behind this system lies a spiritual agenda to keep you too weak to pray, too tired to seek God, too bound to fast, and too distracted to hear his voice. Consider this: why do so many people eat? and yet remain unsatisfied? Why do they drink and yet thirst again? Because they are not feeding themselves what God created. They are feeding on what man has modified under the influence of the evil one. When you consume what God did not ordain, you disconnect yourself from his natural order, and you give room for Satan to tamper with your health, your energy, and even your spiritual clarity. This is not just a matter of diet, it is a matter of destiny. How can you run the race set before you if your body is weighed down with chains? How can you discern the voice of God if your mind is clouded with toxins? How can you worship with fire if your spirit is heavy with cravings? The enemy knows this, and that is why he attacks not just your habits, but your appetite. Think of the first temptation in history. It was not with gold, not with power, not with riches. It was with food. Satan approached humanity through the appetite. That is how subtle he is. He knows that appetite is a doorway to the soul. If he can corrupt what you desire, he can control what you become. Many people do not realize that the battle over food is a battle over freedom. Every time you yield to cravings that do not glorify God, you surrender a piece of your strength. Every time you overindulge in what is harmful, you hand over a weapon to the enemy. But every time you discipline your appetite, you close a door that Satan wanted open. Beloved, do not allow your stomach to become your master. Food was created to serve you, not to enslave you. But Satan whispers, eat more, indulge more, satisfy yourself now. And before you realize it, your stomach is ruling your decisions. Your cravings are ruling your days, and your appetite is ruling your destiny. This is dangerous, for a person who is ruled by appetite cannot be fully ruled by God. When cravings dictate your life, you will find it harder to obey the Spirit. When you are addicted to flavors, you will resist the discipline of fasting. And when you are enslaved by food, you will never taste the sweetness of true spiritual freedom. Look at the world around you. Why do you think there are so many diseases rising, so much weakness, so much fatigue, even among those who call upon God? Yes, trials and afflictions come, but many sicknesses are not just physical. They are spiritual consequences of consuming what Satan has placed in our food systems. He has filled the earth with artificial sweetness to corrupt your taste buds, with stimulants to exhaust your nerves, with chemicals to fog your mind. He wants you hooked, dependent, and desperate for what is killing you. When you are bound in this way, your worship becomes half-hearted, your prayers become shallow, and your discipline is broken. But hear me, there is hope. God has not left you without wisdom. He has given you the power to discern, the ability to choose, the strength to resist. The enemy may tempt you through food, but God has equipped you with the will to say no. You must rise in the authority of God and declare, my body is his temple. My appetite will not control me. I will not be enslaved by sugar, by chemicals, by cravings. I will be ruled by God alone. Every choice you make with your food is not just a choice for your body. It is a choice for your destiny. Will you choose life, or will you choose bondage? Will you honor the temple of God, or will you let the devil graffiti it with poison? Some of you have been praying for freedom from spiritual heaviness, But God is waiting for you to clean your table. You cannot pray for clarity while consuming confusion. You cannot ask for fire while feeding yourself ashes. You cannot demand strength while pouring weakness into your body. The wisdom of God is simple: return to what He created. Return to what He ordained. Return to foods that grow from the earth, that carry life, that give energy without addiction. Return to water that flows pure, not to drinks that intoxicate your mind. Return to simplicity and you will find strength. Return to discipline and you will find freedom. Return to God in your appetite and you will find Him in your spirit. Beloved, hear this warning: Satan is clever, but he is not creative. He can only corrupt what God has made. And if you see the corruption in food today, you must recognize the hand behind it. The hand that wants you addicted. The hand that wants you sluggish. The hand that wants you unfocused in prayer. Do not give him that victory. Do not hand him your health. Do not give him control of your appetite. Take back your temple. Take back your energy. Take back your clarity. Choose God with every bite, with every drink, with every decision of your appetite. For the one who conquers appetite conquers a doorway of the enemy. Beloved, do you realize how many destinies have been delayed, not because God was unwilling to bless, but because the vessel was too weak to carry the blessing? The enemy is a strategist, and he studies where you are vulnerable. He knows that many believers will not bow to idols, will not renounce their faith, will not stop praying. But he also knows that if he can slowly destroy your strength, if he can make you tired, if he can cloud your mind and chain your appetite, you will lack the energy to rise into the fullness of what God has prepared. You may have vision, but without health, you cannot pursue it. You may have dreams, but without discipline, you cannot fulfill them. And so Satan works quietly through what seems harmless, through food that looks good, feels good, and tastes good, but is secretly robbing you of life. Do not think this is a small matter. This is spiritual warfare on your plate. Many people pray for God to remove temptation, but they do not see that the temptation is sitting in their refrigerator. They pray for God to give them focus, but their focus is being stolen by substances in their food that numb their mind. They pray for power in prayer, but their spirit is heavy with gluttony, overindulgence, and addiction to what does not honor God. The devil does not always shout when he attacks. Sometimes he whispers. And his whispers sound like cravings, like appetite, like indulgence. The body you carry is a gift from God. It is not your own, it is His temple. And the temple must be guarded. The priests of old never allowed filth or uncleanness to defile the house of God. Yet how many today fill their temple with poisons and then wonder why their prayers seem powerless? When the temple is defiled, the fire on the altar grows dim. When the body is enslaved, the spirit struggles to soar. If you want your prayers to carry weight, if you want your faith to be sharp, if you want your discernment to be clear, you must also guard your temple in the area of food. Think of the strength of those who walked with God in the past. They were disciplined in appetite. They understood the power of fasting. They knew that victory often begins in the stomach. A person who cannot control appetite cannot control destiny. The first doorway to self-mastery is mastery of the plate. And Satan knows this, which is why he works day and night to create new forms of bondage through food. He wants your body tired, your spirit heavy, and your mind distracted. But you, child of God, must rise above. You must declare that you will no longer be ruled by your stomach, by cravings, or by the schemes of the enemy. Consider how food is marketed today. Bright colors, addictive flavors, seductive advertisements. It is not just business, it is manipulation. The systems of this world are designed to keep you hooked, to keep you buying, to keep you eating more than you need, more than God intended. And every time you indulge without discipline, you strengthen the grip of bondage. Beloved, discipline in food is not about denial, it is about freedom. Freedom from addiction, freedom from manipulation, freedom from the invisible chain Satan tries to place on your soul through your appetite. God gave you authority over the earth, over creation, even over your body. But when you let cravings rule you, you surrender that authority. You give control to the flesh, and through the flesh, Satan finds his doorway. You may say, but it is only food. No, food is never only food. Food can be fuel for holiness or fuel for bondage. Food can be an offering to God or an offering to your flesh. Food can strengthen your spirit or weaken it. You must decide, will you eat to glorify God, or will you eat to please cravings planted by the enemy? Let me tell you something deeper. What you eat not only affects your body, it affects your mind, and your mind affects your spirit. The enemy knows this. He knows that when your body is toxic, your thoughts become foggy, your emotions become unstable, and your will becomes weak. Have you noticed how after consuming certain foods, your mind feels restless, your patience grows short, and your desire for prayer fades? This is not accidental. This is strategy. If the devil cannot steal your faith directly, he will weaken the vessel that carries it. Beloved, God has called you to be sharp, disciplined, and spiritually alert. The enemy wants you sluggish, distracted, and numb. He wants you to crave the wrong things so that your hunger for God grows smaller. He wants you to desire sweetness from sugar instead of sweetness from His presence. He wants you to be addicted to flavor instead of addicted to prayer. He wants you to rise in the morning thinking about what to eat, not thinking about God. But you must break this chain. You must rise and declare, I will not allow food to control me. I will not allow Satan to dictate my appetite. My body belongs to God, my mind belongs to God, and my appetite belongs to God. The truth is, the discipline of appetite is one of the greatest weapons in spiritual warfare. That is why fasting is so powerful. When you fast, you declare war on the flesh, you silence cravings, you break addictions, you realign your hunger with God. Fasting is not just about abstaining from food. It is about reclaiming authority over appetite. It is saying to the devil, you will not rule me through what I eat. It is saying to your body, you are not the master, God is. It is saying to your spirit, rise above and lead. But fasting without discipline afterward is like building a wall and then tearing it down with your own hands. Some fast and then return to the same poisons. the same addictions, the same foods that chained them before. This is not victory. This is deception. True victory is when your appetite is consistently aligned with God's wisdom. When you eat not for indulgence, but for strength. When your food is not your master, but your servant. Beloved, hear me. Every bite matters. Every choice matters. You may think it is small, but small choices become great habits, and habits shape destiny. If you continually choose food that honors God, you will find your body lighter, your mind clearer, your prayers stronger, and your spirit freer. But if you continually choose food that enslaves, you will find yourself bound even while you are praying for freedom. Beloved, I must speak with fire in my spirit, for too many are living as captives while thinking they are free. You pray, you sing, you call upon God, but the devil has already placed shackles upon your body through what you eat. Do not think the enemy is foolish. He studies the details of your life. He knows that if he can corrupt your daily bread, he can weaken your daily walk. If he can chain your appetite, he can cloud your mind. If he can poison your plate, he can poison your prayers. This is why I cry out with urgency. Watch what you consume. For what you consume will either draw you nearer to God or drag you deeper into bondage. Look at the cunning of the enemy. He takes what God has created for life and twists it into something that brings death. He takes food that should heal and turns it into something that destroys. He takes drink that should refresh and turns it into something that enslaves. The shelves of this world are filled with products that do not carry life but carry corruption. They shine with colors, they promise pleasure, but behind them is a spirit of control. Do you see how this works? It is not just physical, it is spiritual. The battle is not about calories and sugar alone. It is about dominion. Who controls you? Is it God or is it your appetite? Is it the spirit or is it the flesh? Satan is patient. He does not need you to fall in one day. He is satisfied if you fall slowly. He is satisfied if your fire dies little by little, day after day, through what you consume. He knows you may never bow to an idol, but if he can make you bow to sugar, to processed food, to cravings that are never satisfied, he has still won. For if your stomach becomes your master, your spirit becomes a slave. Think of how much time is wasted when appetite controls a person. Hours spent satisfying cravings, days lost in fatigue, nights lost in restlessness. How many prayers are missed because the body was too heavy to rise? How many fasts were broken because the appetite was too strong? How many visions from God were clouded because the mind was poisoned with toxins? And yet, people treat food as if it is harmless, while it may be the very tool Satan is using to weaken their spiritual power. Beloved, hear me. Discipline in appetite is not only for health, it is for holiness. When you master appetite, you master focus. When you master appetite, you master clarity. When you master appetite, you master freedom. The enemy trembles when he sees a believer who is not ruled by cravings, because he knows that person cannot be easily manipulated. Appetite is one of the first doors the devil seeks to open, but if you lock that door, you cut off one of his greatest strategies. The word says that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from God. This means your true life is not in what you eat, but in who you serve. Food can sustain your body, but only God sustains your soul. And yet the enemy convinces many to worship the stomach, to serve their cravings as if it were a god. They eat not to live, but live to eat. And in doing so, they surrender their strength. Beloved, your stomach is not your master. It is not your ruler. It is a servant to your spirit, and your spirit is submitted to God. You must put appetite back in its rightful place. Let me reveal another angle. The foods of this world are not only designed to weaken you physically, they are designed to corrupt your emotions. Have you noticed how certain foods make you irritable, restless, even depressed? This is no accident. The enemy knows that if he can disturb your emotions, he can disturb your worship. If he can make you unstable in mood, he can make you unstable in prayer. If he can flood your body with toxins, he can flood your mind with confusion. This is why so many are up and down, hot and cold, on fire one day and weary the next. It is not always a spiritual attack from outside. It is a spiritual attack from inside through what they consume. Beloved, God has given you wisdom to discern. Not everything that is placed before you is for you. Not everything that is available is acceptable. Not everything that is sweet is safe. The enemy has made many things appear harmless that are deadly, and many things appear pleasurable that are poisonous. But if you seek God's wisdom, He will open your eyes. He will show you which foods carry life and which carry bondage. He will guide you to discipline, and through discipline, you will rise. Do not think this is about perfection or legalism. It is about alignment. Alignment with the will of God in every part of your life, including your appetite. It is about honoring Him, not only with your lips, but with your lifestyle. It is about declaring that every part of you, from your thoughts to your body, belongs to Him. When you eat with gratitude and discipline, you are worshiping. When you drink with moderation and purity, you are worshiping. When you say no to cravings that enslave, you are worshiping. Worship is not only in songs, it is in choices, and your choices about food are part of that worship. Beloved, you cannot cry for freedom while holding the chains of appetite. You cannot pray for clarity while feeding confusion. You cannot ask God to heal while poisoning yourself with what He never intended you to consume. This is not just about physical strength, it is about spiritual power. If you want to walk in authority, if you want to pray with fire, if you want to live with clarity, you must break free from the foods that Satan uses to control you. And how do you break free? With discipline, with fasting, with prayer, with dependence on God. You must ask Him to cleanse not only your soul, but your appetite. You must surrender your plate to Him, just as you surrender your mind, your heart, and your hands. You must ask Him to realign your desires so that you crave what gives life, not what steals it. When you pray this way, God will give you strength to resist. When you discipline yourself, He will add power to your spirit. When you honor Him with your appetite, He will honor you with clarity, with strength, with freedom. Beloved, the time is short. The days are evil. The enemy is working overtime to weaken God's people, to distract them, to chain them. But you are called to rise above. You are called to live disciplined, clear-minded, sharp, alert, and strong. Do not allow your appetite to be your downfall. Do not let food become your prison. Take back your authority. Guard your temple. Honor God with every choice. And when you do, you will find a strength rising in you that no chain of the enemy can hold. You will find a clarity of mind that no darkness can cloud. You will find a freedom of spirit that no craving can enslave. For the one who conquers appetite conquers one of the greatest weapons of Satan. And the one who conquers that will rise in power, in purity, and in purpose under God.